Ladies and gentlemen, the heroes of that video, Chad Hurley and Steve Chen.
Thanks.
Sit in either of these.
All right.
That had higher production values than a lot of the YouTube videos, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we try. We try.
We tried, yeah. You know, this is our 5th year, as you know, and Karen and I have interviewed lots of notable figures in the internet and media and technology here on the stage, but I think it was been very interesting so far at this conference that the one company which has been mentioned, I think, most often by almost every speaker has been YouTube. Does that make you feel? Does that make you feel weird, or
yeah,
what do you think's going on with that?
Strange. What happened? Yeah, when we started this company a little over 2 years ago, never expected to be here, sitting on the stage.
Here at the Four Seasons.
Yeah, of course. But
you can afford it, you know. You could afford to be here.
Yeah, it's really interesting how we've been able to just take this simple idea, kind of looking at our own problems, how to share videos online, try to simplify that, and realizing other people had that same problem, and kind of took off from there.
And I have to commend you that you've seemed to somehow you've managed to get possibly the world's greatest marketing guy, Steve Jobs, to come up here and do an entire demo of your service.
Yeah.
There aren't too many companies that Steve Jobs demos their things.
Yeah,
so
no, we're really excited about that.
So maybe we could talk about that for a minute. The idea that you can now, through Apple TV, watch YouTube videos on your main TV in your home is kind of a departure for you guys, right? I mean, you're moving to a different screen. Is that been in the plan all along, or did Apple just approach you, or I mean, how did that happen?
Yeah, not necessarily. I mean, we wanted to create a simple online service, and we always kind of envisioned delivering videos on the web. And then we started recently seeing interesting opportunities in the mobile market to deliver content to a mobile phone. So we started building out APIs so people could build applications on top of it. And then we saw an interesting opportunity to work with Apple to get our
right, but how did that happen? Did they call you? Did you call them?
Yeah, we're in discussions. And
yeah, what? Did they call you, or did you call them? Steve?
I work on the engineering side, Chad.
Yeah. So you don't have a phone. They don't allow you to have a phone, no email.
No,
you're just in there coding.
Yeah. They knew we had APIs available, and they reached out to us to see what we could do together. And,
cool. So is this going to be? Are you going to be on more of these devices that try to bring internet onto the TV screen?
Yeah, we hope so. We want to bring video to every screen that we can. And I think with the technology that we're developing, we have a great chance to accomplish that.
Yeah. When Steve was out here, not last night for the thing with Phil, but when he was out here earlier in the day and he did do that demo, I made the comment to him that a lot of just the bit rate and the production quality of some of the YouTube videos might not make them look great on a big screen TV. And he said he agreed, but he said he thought the cameras were getting better, the techniques were getting better, the encoding was getting better, and that so therefore average people could be producing, I mean, not necessarily cinematic stuff, but stuff that would hold up pretty well on a big screen. Engineering guy. Is that right? I mean,
I think we were pretty surprised when we saw the videos on a big screen, on a 50-inch, 100-inch projector, that it actually looked quite surprisingly to us, because everything that we had seen up to that time was within this sort of 320, 240 window on the browser, and we didn't know it was going to be projected. And really, I think what we learned is there's very different qualities of videos on the site, and it really depends on the quality of the original content that's uploaded to the site, not so much the transcoding process. So when you go onto YouTube now, you'll see lined up next to each other videos that seem a lot higher quality than some of the other videos, and it really depends on if the video is taken from a digital camcorder, a mobile phone, a webcam, versus some of the higher quality videos out there.
And some of these people, depending on whether they actually are employed, can spend many hours producing these 2 or 3 minute things, right? So some of those are actually higher quality
Yeah.
in the end.
Yeah.
Let's talk about, you know, you guys in your video, by the way, must be on YouTube by now, right? I mean,
It's going up shortly.
I'm sure. You guys made fun of yourselves, which is a great thing, and one of the things you did was the Mentos thing, which everybody kind of associates, a couple of different ones that people associate with YouTube. But, you know, as I was talking to, as we were talking to George Lucas and to Les Moonves, there are people doing longer form video on the web, completely original video. It's not necessarily 30 minutes or an hour, but it might be 15 minutes or something like that, and they're serials. And there are some other websites, Blip TV comes to mind, that kind of have specialized in putting those things up online. How much of your content is represented by that stuff as opposed to the, and it's user generated, it's amateur, but it's you know, written and thought through and acted and all that kind of stuff. How much of what's on YouTube is that, and how much is the more spontaneous? You know, I have my cell phone and I've taken a quick video of something funny.
Yeah. I'd say the majority of the videos on our site are kind of the spontaneous events, personal events, and short clips. We're seeing the majority of the people coming to our site wanting to watch videos kind of 2 to 3 minutes in length. But we are seeing higher and higher quality videos coming online, people being able to tell these stories and being able to create serials. And it is a little bit longer, and people are watching that too. You know, Lonely Girls is a great example, you know, of someone that has started to do that. There's more and more independent filmmakers that are taking advantage of our distribution, our audience, to be recognized and be discovered.
So you're announcing today a deal with EMI, which apparently is desperately doing deals with everyone, taking off DRM, doing everything they can because they're in a bad business position, but I think at least it's a good thing for consumers.
Yeah.
And tell us about that deal. I mean, because you've had some other record label deals. Is this primarily about music videos going up on YouTube, or is there something different about it?
Yeah, that's a piece of it. So this is the fourth and final major record label that we've brought onto YouTube, and you know, they're bringing great artists like Coldplay and Gorillaz, and not only just the music videos. Now we're creating new market opportunities. I think that's one of the interesting things that we're working on. Is that they'll be able to identify when their music is being used in home movies. When people take a travel video and add a soundtrack, they'll be able to identify that and earn revenue against that. And it also gives users a free and legal way to be creative. So we're really excited about the new opportunity.
So are you going to have a tool which will allow them to take this EMI music and put it in their videos, or could I, you know, sit at home with iMovie and make my video and throw some Coldplay track on there, and how will it work?
Yeah, right now we have an audio swap tool where you can add soundtracks. Has a limited catalog, but we'll be expanding that. And then also people will be able to add music with their editing tools at home and being able to upload that to YouTube.
And you'll be able to identify it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think that's one of the things, clearing up. You know, I'd like to clear up a lot of misconceptions about, you know, where we are and why we're here. And
we prefer misconceptions.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
But you know, people saying that we haven't developed any tools, we haven't been proactive in addressing, you know, the issues that we have on the site. But you know, when we started seeing issues with copyright, early '06, we were the first to release content management tools that really industry leading and have driven the rest of the sites in this direction. And
what do you mean by that? What does that mean, content management tools?
It's a way for people right now to identify their content with metadata, to do a search. And we've also put other tools in place, limiting the lengths of videos to 10 minutes in length for regular accounts, so we don't see people trying to upload full-length programming. We take a hash of every file that's removed from the system, so that same file can't get onto the site. We do a really you know, good job educating the users of copyright law and how they should.
Well, whoa, come on! You do a good job of educating the users on copyright law?
Yeah, we
really? I think we're definitely sort of the industry leaders, and I think we're we sort of had to be in order in sort of our leading position.
You're the industry leaders in what? In explaining copyright law to
I think
people?
on 3 areas. One, I think, is the educational piece, which sort of simplifying all the legalese into something that people can understand, and sort of translating that to different languages, much sooner than sort of our international relations.
I'm on YouTube 2-3 times a day. I don't remember seeing any lectures on copyright law. I mean, where is it?
We have a section, and we clearly stated on the upload pages that we don't accept any of this material.
Yeah, and you think people stop and read that and absorb it?
Yeah, they do. And if they don't,
or is it just that your lawyers told you to put it up there to cover your ass? I mean,
we've always been about user-generated content, just as our name implies.
I understand.
We're about the users, and we feel with more and more people having access to these cameras and making this content, that's going to be the majority of the market in the video that's coming onto our service.
Right, and so why is your mission educating them about copyright law?
It's just one piece of what we're trying to provide with a system that we're trying to get in place, and we do have in place. And we're also adding layers of technology on top of what we're already doing. It's something that you just don't put a press release out and kind of give it a fancy name and say that's the silver bullet.
Well, actually, a lot of people do that.
Yeah. Well,
I can show you lots of press releases like that.
Well, we see this as sort of a search algorithm. This is something you constantly need to be working on to create an effective solution. So we continue to do that. We're running trials right now with audio fingerprinting and video fingerprinting. We're going to be expanding that over the summer. We're going to having a full release in the fall where everyone's going to have access to these more enhanced tools that we can provide to individuals and partners and content owners.
So you're saying to me that you're dead serious about and really care a lot about making sure there's not unauthorized use of copyrighted material on YouTube, and at the same time doing deals with some of these companies to license some of the copyright deals.
Yeah.
So why are you being sued for $1 billion?
Well, I think they've bought into some of the misconceptions. They didn't understand what we're working on and what we have in the market today with the trials that we're running with audio and video fingerprinting. And we're confident. We're still open to doing a deal. We want to show them what we have in place and open up a new market opportunity for them. We've always been in the position and wanting to do a partnership, and we still feel.
Is your business viable if for some reason you couldn't have any copyrighted content on there? I mean, suppose the holders of all this IP decided they just didn't want it on your site.
Yeah, exactly.
You have a viable business in the Mentos and the Diet Coke?
Yeah, there's thousands of independent filmmakers. There's people that don't have access to get their content out in front of an audience, and we're providing that for them. And there's going to be more and more people creating compelling content because they become comfortable with the tools. They understand how to use the tools. I think we're just in the very early days. That's where digital photography was a few years ago. And the amount of content that's coming online is only going to expand.
I mean, I think the one thing to sort of, I think we've continually said it's a difficult problem to solve, but I think to sort of get in a little bit more detail about what's involved there is, it's not sort of violence or pornography is easily detectable. We're talking about sort of copyrighted content where, every video that's uploaded onto YouTube is copyrighted by, the copyrights are held by somebody. So the work there is, just talking strictly about the audio side, about trying to take these audio fingerprints on these clips on the site and trying to figure out, who the rights are, who internationally, domestically, trying to figure out where this, who owns all this, and then talking about.
And the record labels, I mean, their own chain of rights is ridiculously convoluted in a lot of cases. I mean, if you look on iTunes and you look at albums that you knew about 10 years ago, and there'll be like 8 songs out of the 13. Why? Because the other 5 songs, the label that put the album out didn't necessarily have electronic rights. They only had the rights to put it on the album in vinyl or in CD or whatever it was. I mean, they can't even figure it out half the time. But
yeah. I mean, internally in these companies, we're finding the same case with video content. There's, the marketing side of the media businesses love the new audience and promotion that we provide them. They're uploading content, and the next day we're receiving calls from their lawyers to take it down. So it's hard for us or our users to be in a position to decide what should be on the site.
Well, I also think that average people honest people who are doing a video that they eventually want to upload to YouTube do not necessarily even know or consider that there's any rights issue or any legal issue with putting a song they like as the background of that video.
No, I think that's,
I mean, really, if you went out on the street and you just surveyed, you know, normal people.
That's where the education piece comes in.
Yeah, with just the normal DMCA takedown procedures, there's a way to do the counterclaim. So after a piece of video is claimed by a content owner, the users that uploaded the video have the privilege to file a counterclaim that they really own this piece of content. And oftentimes, I think these misconceptions about, you know, we would get emails from our users after a piece of content that they've uploaded to the site has been taken down. And they would claim that, you know, I bought this CD, or I actually purchased this song from the iTunes Music Store. I own this piece of content. I think that's part of that education and trying to simplify that language, that you're given certain rights with this song, you're given certain rights with these videos, but not all rights to redistribute them.
So can you foresee a time, I mean, can you foresee a time when the ratio of what's up there changes so that a large percentage of it is licensed, copyrighted material, since you are doing these deals?
Yeah, I mean, we you know, have over 1,000 partnerships. We keep, you know, closing deals every day, like EMI, and you know, we feel we're providing a new market opportunity because people are spending their time in different places. We're providing distribution. There's going to be a lot of video sites, and we're providing a new opportunity for them to get their content out there.
Do you think you're just the flavor of the month right now? As I said, everybody seems to have mentioned you or talking about larger trends. They use you as an example. And I don't mean by that, do you think your business is invalid or that there's something, you know, video is a fad that will go away. I don't mean that. But in this industry, there's a strong tendency to take whatever seems to be hot or working at the moment and then inflate its importance to the world 100x for a year.
Yeah.
And then even if it continues to be a successful business, the level of hype about it kind of goes away and maybe the excitement around it goes away. I mean, do you think you're in that kind of hype bubble period right now, whether it was of your own making or not? Do you think you are?
Well, you know, I was fortunate to come last year to D, and a lot of discussions. People were mentioning YouTube, so you know, it's been a year, so it's been a very long month for us, but to be hyped. But yeah, I think we kind of represent the video movement, this new opportunity that people have been talking about for years. That, you know, video is going to be all over the web. You know, everything's going to move towards video. I think we're actually starting to see that, and it's because people actually have the devices to take video, and people have the connections to stream these videos. And I think we just kind of represent that movement. There's going to be a lot of video sites out there, and you know, we're becoming the main destination to view those videos, but we also see our technology as a platform. We'll be able to power other services potentially.
Well, I think one pattern that we've seen from new users registering on YouTube is not to upload the videos that they took the weekend prior or in the last month. But what we end up seeing is that they upload videos from the last 4 or 5 years spanning back to 2001. So it seems, and what I get from that is that it's really a service that's been sort of needed for some time, but I think that the various forces that needed to be in place before it could happen, such as, you know, broadband penetration, the devices, digital cameras that can actually take these videos, reaching the masses, and I think just also with this sort of the software that's available on people's computers to actually play back these videos without having to download any additional software. I think those pieces were really in place for the first time in early 2005 when YouTube was launched.
Would you expect another surge if and when we ever get actual decent upload speed in American homes?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I mean, I know Senator McCain thinks we have just dandy broadband. And we're America, so of course we have to be first, but we're not, you know.
Yeah.
And upload speed is particularly poor, as you know. So.
Of course, yeah. I mean, as speeds increases on both ends, and for the upload and download. You can see the amount of video coming into our system, other services increase, and the consumption even accelerate farther.
So there were a few things said by other speakers that I'd like to just get your reaction to. Les Moonves, I thought, was quite interesting when he talked about he was not necessarily differentiating himself from you guys, but from some of the other content owners, TV networks, when he said, you know, we don't think the thing to do is to have a destination site. We have one, but that's not our big deal. We want to syndicate our video television shows to as many partners as possible. I think he said they had like 25 syndication deals, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. Quincy Smith has probably made 3 more since he came to D. I don't know. But the notion that video is a service and a content form that's going to be all over the web, and that today's notion that you go to YouTube to see the kind of latest, coolest thing because it's bound to be on YouTube, mm-hmm. May erode whether you do anything right or wrong or whatever, but just by the trend. And so these videos are everywhere. Do you buy into that? Are you still going to be able to be a destination? The way that, frankly, the way that CBS for 50 years has been a destination on your television. Yeah. Is that a viable model going forward, or is it going to be more diffuse?
Yeah, it's a smart strategy for them to get their content out there and distribute their content, syndicate their content to as many people as possible. That's how we were able to grow too. We had embed functionality where people could take videos on our site and put them on their blogs or MySpace profiles or websites, and we were able to experience that growth by providing just that simple solution. So I think media companies are in the same position. But I think growth overall in the video space online there's going to be room for a lot of players. We feel confident we'll be able to innovate and keep providing the best solution to keep people coming back, and that's what we'll continue to work on.
So George Lucas, who knows something about video in the broadest sense, you heard him talk about, I hope you heard him talk about the difference between circus and art.
Yeah.
I think pretty much he thinks you're a circus. So, and I think he was careful to say that circus is a legitimate form of entertainment too. Do you agree with that? How do you feel about that analysis?
Well, I mean, it's true. I mean, everyone has an opportunity to share their Jar Jar moments on YouTube. But, I mean, I think people are.
Now, come on, that was art. I not like it.
Okay, I'm just joking.
But they worked on that, yeah. Jar Jar. That was, you know.
But people are moving in the direction of, you know, creating the Skywalkers and the Darth Vaders. I mean, we see a few of those pop up, but you'll see more as people become comfortable with the tools.
But I think, I mean, really what YouTube, I think, did the sort of clarification is that it's a platform, right? I mean, it's a place to upload your videos, to discover new videos from both the people that are creating videos as well as people that are interested in watching videos, and sort of what Chad talked about earlier about expanding beyond just sort of the web browser into mobile devices, into the living room, as well as just creating more ways to be able to get videos onto the site, either through mobile devices, directly uploading it to YouTube. And I think, you know, for us, we don't control the content that gets uploaded to YouTube, and I think a lot of the community has taken over in the last 2 years, and they started feeding off one another. Things like, you know, video responses and the people's ability to sort of be inspired by somebody else, some piece of work that they really enjoy, and trying to mimic that themselves through sort of their creativity.
One of the other things that Lucas said, I think he said it partly on stage and a little bit off stage, because, as you know, he was hanging around the reception the night before talking to a lot of people. He does not think that you can actually make money yet if you're a filmmaker and you want to use the internet as your platform. Although he did say, as you guys may have noticed, that one of the reasons he switched to TV for his next Star Wars thing is so that he can build up a catalog of 100 episodes that he can put on the internet, on cable, on internet, wherever he wants. So he's trying to build a bunch of content that's more easily distributable around the internet than a big, long feature film. Yeah. But is he right? I mean, is there if I'm a young filmmaker and I have some great idea for, it could be a 15-minute thing, it could be a 5-minute thing, is there any way I can get paid for that?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's in the very early days for someone to support themselves just strictly on internet distribution, but that's why you have a spectrum of options. We're just adding a new option. I mean, this is, you know, you have the internet distribution, you have DVD, you have, you know, the movie theaters and, you know, on demand, and we're just providing a new option for someone to get in front of an audience.
But talk about your option, your part of it. Is there a business model?
Yeah, of course.
What is it?
Advertising. Yeah, we want to keep the site free and easy to use so people could come onto our site and just enjoy content without having to worry about paying for it. And you know, I think you know, by us being acquired by Google, it's been a perfect fit. They know better than anyone on the internet how to monetize the web.
And when you talk about advertising, are you talking about Google kind of, you know, AdSense, AdWords, contextual text ads, or do you foresee, I mean, Karen and I have a website associated with this conference. It's owned by Dow Jones, which also owns the Wall Street Journal, and the Dow Jones ad sales folks sell our ads, which is fine because we're not supposed to sell ads and we don't. But on the video parts of our site, you know, we have those, like everywhere else on the web, we have those annoying pre-roll ads. And a lot of people will click away from the video, even if it's 15 seconds, because they're just annoyed, they don't want to watch the commercial. Are you going to resort to that? I mean, what, or are you just going to have text ads, or is there a more creative way to do it?
Yeah, I think there's going to be a variety of options to choose from, and we're testing a lot of them right now. But you know, we don't really think necessarily like forcing someone to watch an ad is the best way to present that piece of content. We think if you present something that's relevant, that people actually want to opt into that experience, and it'll benefit their experience by showing something that they're interested in, by, you know, the content that.
So give me an example.
I think something is also to be said about the relevancy of the ads that are placed. You know, either we're talking about pre-rolls, post-rolls, interstitials. I mean, two aspects of it. One of them is the length of time that the pre-rolls and post-rolls. And we've done various tests and about definitely, I don't think we're ever going to be doing 30-second pre-rolls instead of videos that are 30 seconds in length.
But well, what do you think, given your test, is the optimal? Is it 5 seconds? I kind of think you shouldn't do more than like 5 seconds.
Yeah, I think it's going to be somewhere between 5 and 10 seconds.
This is me, the advertising genius, speaking. But.
And as well as making it as relevant as we can. So it's really trying to do highly targeted ads for the type of video that's going to be following the advertisement. I think one thing that we've done, tests, and actually successfully deployed on the site has been the video ad that's shown on the front page of YouTube. What we call the participatory video ad, and it is an advertisement, and it doesn't autoplay. The users have to initiate the playing of the advertisement, and it's very clear to the users, to the viewers of the site, that this is an advertisement on the front page of YouTube. But at the same time, we've been surprised at the number of people that click on the play ad, and I think in general what we've learned from that is this sort of merging between sort of advertisement and entertainment, that as long as the advertisement is entertaining and relevant to the users, people will click on it, people will watch it.
So is there an algorithm? You know, Google obviously, with the text ads, the breakthrough there was that it is relevant, or, you know, often relevant to the content of the article. Obviously, we all can think of cases where the algorithm kind of mismatches, but there's, you know, 80% of the cases, or whatever they are, whatever you're seeing in that right-hand column on a search result page is roughly related to whatever you searched on. Is there a similar algorithm for video where you can automatically plug in a 10-second pre-roll or a 15-second post-roll that is on the topic of the video? And, I mean, are there algorithms smart enough to figure out that?
Well, we'll be working with Google using their algorithms and using the metadata that we have surrounding these videos at the time. But, you know, we're always looking for ways to improve that.
But I think, I mean, since even before the acquisition from Google, when we were still paying for all this out of our own pockets, and I still think that we always had that option to resort to just doing 15-second pre-rolls. There's a lot of money in posting these video ads. But I think we've always resisted, just from what our personal experience is in watching pre-rolls in front of videos, that it's not something that's very pleasant to watch. And so I think we've continually tried to explore ways that we can try to merge together that user experience as well as pleasing the advertisers, all into one model that'll work.
So when will you roll out in-video advertising, and would you do it as an option, or how are you going to do it?
Yeah, I mean, people would have to opt into the experience, if, you know.
You mean the people uploading the video?
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
And then would you split the money? I mean, would they suddenly get paid something for it, or how would that work?
Yeah, they'll be paid, like, through AdSense. And But yeah, we currently are, like I said, running some tests on the site, and we're really excited about what we're going to be able to do.
And are we talking 3 months, 6 months for you to begin doing this, or?
Yeah, within the next few months, we're going to be rolling out kind of more video-centric advertising on the site.
And what happens if you get pushback? Because, I mean, you're in a user-generated, you're not Les Moonves, which is a very top-down business, at least at the moment. I mean, they're changing, I grant them that, but it's primarily a top-down business. You're a kind of bottom-up business. What are you going to do if you get pushback on something like that, and people say, no, don't do that?
Yeah, well, hopefully we're going to introduce a model that doesn't really encounter that. We're really committed to providing a concept that works for the advertisers, but doesn't interrupt the user's experience. It gets in their way, and they find it annoying. So we hope that we're just adding value.
No, I know that's your goal. I guess what I'm asking is, what if the users don't think you've hit your goal there?
Well, we'll definitely adjust.
I mean, that's one of the check boxes, I think, in terms of a successful beta test, is that it has to be something that the users can actually find relevant and not annoying.
But I mean, that's how we've always developed our product, kind of not having any preconceived notions of what we should do. We'd listen to feedback and adjust along the way. We, early on, coming from PayPal, we thought, video would be a great thing that people could use on their auction to describe items. We had some initial features that allowed that. We didn't see people using that. We saw people sharing experiences, communicating with each other. So we moved into the direction of building a community. And so I think by listening, we've been able to build a better product.
How much are you going to emphasize, you touched on it earlier, Steve, the idea of people kind of having, I don't know what the right word is, some sort of video vault on YouTube where they put videos from several years ago or videos that matter to them. Is that a path you're interested in taking, so that I have a profile there and I have these videos and I may not even want to share them with everybody, or is that just too off your core mission?
No, I think definitely it's, I think we provide all the sort of services and necessary infrastructure to just host these videos, and sort of any problems that people encounter, the consumers encounters with when they're dealing with video content, we're going to provide the solutions for that. So not just with the video vault from an archive from their database, but as well as just being able to store all the incoming different formats of all the different devices that you have that can take videos and putting them into one central place to be able to share video content with other people.
Okay. Well, why don't we take some questions and put the house lights up, and Stephen Levy.
Hi, guys. So recently there's been some videos, not even all that recently, on YouTube, which opens up the question of authenticity. The Lonely Girl thing was something done by the film people, which didn't really turn out to be the young woman who we thought it was. But even more insidious, there's been videos done as advertising vehicles that supposedly look like grassroots kinds of things. And I think the ad agencies are gearing up for sort of a massive assault on YouTube to have a lot of videos that people think are ground-up things but are actually advertising. Yeah. Are you guys going to proactively do something about this? Do you feel the community will identify these and separate them? Because authenticity is really important to YouTube.
Yeah. Well, we feel by creating the democratic platform, allowing people to decide what they want to watch, and things rising within the system based on views and ratings, that if a piece of advertisement is entertaining, then that's okay.
Even if it professes to be something else, and later when people find out it isn't what it professed to be but was an advertisement, they might feel cheated and then call into question everything they watch on YouTube?
Yeah. Well, I think all the lines are blurring between personal, professional, and advertisement. It's all about creating great content. And I think we see the users having more ability to create better content. We see professional content creators trying to basically make things that look more user-generated.
But do you care? But just, I mean, his point is, do you care? Does it matter to your reputation as a website that the people who come there to be entertained or informed or whatever it is can trust and believe in what they're seeing on there?
Yeah, I think we've done a great job in just leveraging the community and allowing them to make that decision.
Mm-hmm. So you're just going to abdicate that and let
Yeah.
the users decide. Mary?
Thanks, Walt. Steve and Chad, a couple questions. You may not be able to answer them absolutely, but maybe directionally. 5 years from now, what % of video usage on the web do you think will be professional, semi-pro, or amateur, and then just hackers like the rest of us? Or
Yeah.
not hackers is the wrong word, but just normal consumers with their mobiles, whatever. And the second question is, the YouTube channels have shown, I think, tremendous growth. Checked a couple days ago, the most viewed channel on YouTube in the YouTube channel section is CBS, 120 million page views. That's enough to get people excited, every home in America, whatever, if you do the math. But when Tony Blair did his congratulatory stuff to Sarkozy on 10 Downing Street, on London.gov, whatever the site is, and the YouTube channel, that's a big deal. And if we think about the fact that everyone can, in fact, broadcast themselves on a YouTube channel, 5 years from now, conceivably, most of the usage on YouTube will be in channels. If it's not CBS, it's users putting stuff on, with the video bloggers consolidate into their own channels. You know, how might that play out, and could you talk about the growth? And if those aren't interesting questions, you can go to the next question. Walt.
Well, I think in 5 years, it's going to be hard to tell the percentages because, like I was saying, there's going to be so much of a blur between what users are creating and what professional content creators are creating. And that's a great thing. I think everyone has a chance to participate. That's what we've always been about. And you know, moving on to the example of Tony Blair, I mean, you know, of the things that have been happening, I mean, it's really exciting for us. I mean, we would have never expected that that Tony Blair would be using YouTube to congratulate the Prime Minister of France. And he did it both in English and in French, which was very impressive. But yeah, that's what we've become.
There are some countries where the leaders actually speak other languages. You know?
Yeah. I've heard that.
Yeah.
Texan and English.
Actually, our president speaks a little Spanish. I should say that.
But just to dwell on this for a second, and then I'll leave the mic. On the channel stuff, can you talk about the growth and what you've seen in the number of Tony Blair-like folks that are creating their own channels and how that may change? Because that changes the game in the way video is consumed on the web.
Well, what we're seeing is that we've become more than an entertainment destination. Is that, you know, we're a site that not only entertains, but we inform and empower people with video. And they're able to connect through these channels and create an audience that comes back, not only for CBS, but other independent filmmakers, where that you can subscribe to a channel, and as you add more interesting content, the people that you've aggregated are notified and can come back to watch that. So, you know, in the case of CBS, they produce great content. Hollywood's always going to produce great content. We're just providing a new opportunity for them to get in front of an audience. And they've seen a reaction. They've seen by putting content, by putting clips on YouTube, but we've actually helped raise their ratings. So we're really excited about the potential of YouTube just being a great promotional platform to have people experience a piece of content and watch a better experience on TV.
Thanks.
Yep.
Gary.
Gary Shapiro, President of the Consumer Electronics Association and also Chairman of the Home Recording Rights Coalition, which has worked for over 20 years to make sure that products like yours or services like yours can be introduced without legal questions being raised. And thank you. And it goes back not only to the Sony Betamax, but it goes after that, just to give you some examples of some products which have been litigated out of existence, the Replay, Load and Go, ClearPlay, now there's a Kaleidoscape lawsuit, Cablevision, Perfect Tenor in litigation, and obviously some of the ones we've heard about. So my question for you is this: you've done something phenomenal. You're reaching, it seems like, most of the internet consuming public. Our laws are made by people who represent these people. The copyright laws were basically written by the copyright owners, and they've narrowed the definition of fair use, and you're kind of like accepting it. Have you ever thought of mobilizing your constituency, linking them up to ways they could contact their congressman? Digitalfreedom.org is a great website for doing that. And saying, let's...
It's your website for doing that, right?
Thank you. Well, it's not, we're part of a bigger website, yes. But
Yeah,
we're part
I
of it.
just disclosure. Yeah.
So the question is, have you ever thought of trying to get the laws clarified or changed to come back to grasp with reality, and they're just not there to put an ironclad lock on what copyright owners can do and sue people like you out of existence?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah, we're very interested in trying to moving the rights industry forward, to how people manage rights. You know, anything we can do, not only to help educate our users, but work with the industry to kind of figure out a new model. We're all for that. We think there's so much more potential, so much more creativity that you can gain by leveraging our user base. That you know, hopefully we can get things in place.
Yeah, but I think I think what Gary's getting at might be this. You're now in a position where all these rights holders are coming to you and offering you deals, and you're signing them, and there's nothing wrong with that. But there are bigger issues here about the complete misweighting of the copyright laws, at least in some people's opinions.
In my opinion.
In your opinion, and actually in my opinion, I've written some columns about it, where the laws are really written 100% for the copyright holders. And they have a right to copyright, and there is such a thing as intellectual property. Are you going to basically now, because you are bigger and popular and people are coming to you to offer you deals, just sign these deals, try to do your best within the scope of those negotiations, or would you ever consider stepping up and trying to lead a political crusade about this?
Yeah.
I don't mean a partisan thing, but a crusade about changing the copyright laws.
Yeah, I mean, I think we have a chance to affect the issues and make a difference. And you know, we'll be looking for opportunities to do that. But right now, I think we've been operating under current law, and we still feel like we're providing a great opportunity for people to generate revenue under the current conditions. But that can always improve.
But I think
your users own this country as well, and that's something to consider. And I would hope you would use that power that you have to allow them to exercise their political rights and encourage them to do so.
Steve, did you?
Well, no, I mean, I think we have pushed the horizon on some of the things that we have done. It's not just a sort of a content licensing deal in the strictest sense. I mean, we've been getting sort of enabling users to use just this music content on music videos that they, on videos that they create themselves, or even this ability for us to be able to detect content that's uploaded from the users instead of this black and white about either, you know, taking this video down or keeping it up. We allow the content owners, whether they own a piece of the music or own a piece of the video, to be able to claim that piece of content and try to participate in the revenue sharing with the advertisements that's shown.
But wouldn't it be easier, just theoretically, to live in I mean, I'm not talking about being an outlaw and not obeying the law. And we'll have Philippe Duman out here later, and he'll say why he thinks you're not obeying the law. But assuming that you want to obey the law and live within the current law, laws can always be changed. And wouldn't it be easier for the overall law to be changed so that people just naturally have the right to some degree to take a song and, you know, 30 seconds of a song and put it as a soundtrack on their video without that being considered piracy? I don't know if that's the right cutoff, 30 seconds, and, you know, I'm sure there's more that goes into it. But to clean up the laws so that it says, users, this is your right. Whereas the copyright laws on the books now, of course, I don't know if you've ever read any of them, but they don't say what the user's rights are. It's all about the other stuff.
They're old and they're unclear. I think you know, improving that can only help the industry.
Okay, over here.
Good morning. Paul Vaslik from Codeworks in the UK. A few years ago, it seemed pretty obvious that the future of television was going to be a closed private network with quality of service called IPTV. Progress on that seems to have been painfully slow, yet on the web we've got a whole bunch of new business models and new video-based models. In your opinion, has IPTV kind of missed the boat? And are we likely to see the web take over as the primary form of deployment? And where do you see yourself in that future?
Well, no, I think even though sort of the infrastructural piece is very common between IPTV and the way that YouTube delivers videos or any of the other sort of internet video sharing sites delivers videos, I think fundamentally it's trying to solve two different problems, right? I mean, we're not a replacement for television. Just the quality, even though we are making advances on the quality, the digital cameras are getting better, at the end of the day, the quality of the videos on YouTube can't be compared to even sort of NTSC PAL resolutions, much less DVD quality or HDDV quality. So I still think that we're very distant from this sort of this family experience of gathering around the living room and being able to watch.
And yet, what we learned here at D yesterday was now you're on TV screens, at least for the people that own an Apple TV.
But
I mean, that's a pretty profound. I understand your quality is lower, but geez, I now, if I'm sitting in front of my TV with a $299 box, that's all it is, I can flip around, and one of the things I can flip around to is YouTube all of a sudden.
Right. Yeah. I think we've been successful because everyone can participate. I mean, with the IPTV model, it was the only media companies that would have a chance to get their content distributed. Now we're providing opportunity for everyone.
All right. I'm afraid we're only going to be able to do one more question. Yeah.
Hi. My name's Andrew Keane. I'm the author of The Cult of the Amateur, which is a book critical of Web 2.0 and YouTube. A couple of questions. I wasn't satisfied with your response to the question about anonymity, anonymous postings. I'm wondering if you have an example of the way, concrete example of the way in which your so-called community has rooted out inauthentic videos. And the second question is, have you ever considered bifurcating YouTube so that there would be one section of the site in which people could post their content and they would have to prove their identity? In other words, there would be a section of YouTube which was truly authentic.
Yeah. Well, for the first part of the question, I think Lonely Girl is a perfect example of someone, at first not being truthful with the community. But when the truth came out, sure, there were some people that were upset. But at the end of the day, people understood it was entertainment. And she still has one of the largest audiences in our system.
Yeah, but how did the truth come out?
Exactly. It didn't come out through.
Did your members bring the truth out, or did journalists? I mean, who figured it out?
I think it was a blogger. I can't remember who was doing research.
But not somebody inside your community.
It was probably someone watching videos on our site if they saw our videos. But I don't know if it was a community itself rising up to kind of figure out who Lonely Girl was. But I think in that case, we've seen that the community didn't really care. They just enjoyed the fact that it was great content that they were enjoying.
And the second part?
And the second piece, yeah, the authentication piece. I mean, we feel we want to create a platform that gives maximum flexibility, allowing everyone to participate and get their content out there. We're always going to be looking at options to improve the technology, and this is an area that we can look into too. I think when you put too many barriers in place, you're punishing the majority of our users that are using the system correctly. I think what we develop, what we continue to develop, is going to be an effective solution.
Well, thanks very much. Thank you, guys. Thank you.